The Forum on the Family is one of the premier family conferences held each year with international and national speakers and political leaders. Hosted by Family First New Zealand, the Forum brings together a national network of family-focused organisations, scholars, lobby groups, church leaders and community groups who are part of a growing movement to bring New Zealand to a point where families are strengthened, marriage is honoured, life is protected and religious freedom is defended. This year's conference will again be held at the Dewdrop Event Centre in Manukau City, not too far from the Auckland Airport, on Thursday 28th of August and Friday 29th of August. Yes, because of demand, we're starting the conference earlier with 3 important sessions and a time of networking on the Thursday evening, and then a full-day program all day Friday. This year's theme is Courage at a Cultural Tipping Point. The culture is slowly but surely waking up to the harmful effects of the radical left-wing agenda and the destruction of family values that we all hold dear. Some countries have even figured out how to define a woman. And at this year's conference, once again, we have an amazing lineup of brave speakers from the US, Canada, Australia and New Zealand. Dr. Miriam Grossman last spoke at our forum in 2012. You may also recognise her from the recent Daily Wire documentary, What is a Woman? But more recently, she's released an important book on the transgender agenda. I'll be doing a live interview with Dr. Grossman from New York, where she is based. Jeff Johnson is an issues analyst for Focus on the Family in the United States. We're also very excited to have Dawn Hawkins discussing the issue of pornography and sexual exploitation. From Canada, we have Amanda Ackman bringing us a warning about the slippery slope of euthanasia. From Australia, we have Kirralie Smith, a wife, a mother, and an activist for biology and truth, but who is paying the price for speaking up. And for the first time in New Zealand, you will get to hear their side of the story. Israel and Maria Folau. Now, we're hoping that they'll be able to attend in person. They're keen to be here, but it does depend on Israel's rugby schedule in Japan. But either way, we'll get to hear from them personally and not via the hostile mainstream media. And finally, we're hosting and recording a special episode of Straight Talk before a live audience at the conference. It'll be a lively discussion and you can be part of that live audience. I want to invite you to this year's Forum on the Family. It starts Thursday night, 28th, 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. and then all day Friday, 29th from 8:45 a.m. through to 4:30 p.m. It's the highlight of the year and you don't want to miss it. Arrange to be there. Book your flights today. Gather your friends. If you're concerned for our culture, our country and our families, you may be saying, what can I do? Well, step 1, attend the Forum on the Family. Have your spine stiffened by some fabulous speakers who will encourage, equip and inspire you. Now, the last couple of years have been sellouts, so don't delay. Go to our website, forumonthefamily.nz, for all the information you need. Register today. Don't miss this important family conference. Go to forumonthefamily.nz. Register today.
It's going to be great. I just hope you can make the forum. I mean, look, I'm going to be there. That may put a number of you off. But look, it would be lovely to have you along. But good morning and welcome for this, I believe, the 55th episode. And it's just lovely to have you all with me. I see we've got Catherine, good morning. Lynette, lovely to have you here. We've got our wonderful point person there in Raitihi. Lovely to have you along. Jackie, the rain has stopped here in Auckland for now. Michael, good morning. Trinity, lovely to have you along. Rosie's got the controversial comment of the day. She says that Taupo is paradise, which that's probably not controversial. It's whether they're suggesting that other places are not. I don't know. To Rabbit Hole, good morning. Lovely to have you along. Got Chris there in Waipukurau. Whakatani as well. Lovely to have you guys here. So welcome to the show. Welcome to Solid Ground. If you're a first-time watcher, know that this is a 20 to 30 minute discussion on matters political, cultural, ethical, anything really that catches my eyes. And one of my neighbours, good morning, at lovely Glendowie. Hopefully not too much flooding over there. It bucketed down. To Anna Marie, lovely to have you along. Whanganui, lovely to have you along. So, as I say, just things that catch my eye. But do know, wonderful. I was just in Mount Maunganui the other day. Gosh, as Lisa Marie will know, it is just such an incredible place, the Mount. Even managed to walk up to the top, one of our favourite things to do every day we're there. We've got Catty, if I'm reading this right, from Glennis, lovely. I haven't been to Catty for ages, I really need to. We've got Darren, good morning. Wattle Downs, lovely out east there. I need to travel more. This is what I'm beginning to think when I see this. Speaking of travel, actually, I'm off to Japan this weekend for a week, which means I won't be doing Solid Ground next week. So this is now false advertising. So yeah, I'm off to Japan for a week. There's actually the World Tibetan Congress. So as you know, Tibet's been taken over by the Chinese Communist Party. Terrible things happen there. Religious persecution, children taken off their families and re-educated. So long and short, the Tibetan Parliament asked me to come across to be part of this forum that they're holding, and also to chair some of the sessions. So I find that quite an honour, I have to be honest, guys. But it does mean that I'm away in Tokyo. First time for me. I'm actually quite excited. Rachel can't, unfortunately, join me, so I won't be doing too much touristing, although I did ask the other day on social media for advice, and I've got a list as long as my arm of things to do within, I think, got 24 hours, or rather one day, so it's probably more 12 hours, where I can actually have a quick look around. But an honour and a privilege to be going over there. Speaking up for human rights has always been something quite important to me, so it doesn't matter if it's the right to life, speaking out against, the excesses of authoritarian regimes like the CCP, which is why I've stood with the Uyghurs and the Hong Kongers and Tibetans, and just amazing how doors are opened and the opportunities to keep engaging and speaking. And then actually a few months from now, I'm going to the States to deliver a talk at a legal symposium of all things around religious freedom and free speech. So amazing really what happens. I just find it quite privileged. But anyway, long and short, no Solid Ground next week, although I will try if I can to record a video or two while I'm there, so that I could share with you just some of the impressions of what's happening. Morning to Jackie in Palmerston North, Atimarie, to John Riddell there out from West Auckland. That's where my wife originally comes from, Te Atatu. I'm not saying that part of West Auckland where you are, John, but we will often go out there. The house that Rachel and her family were raised in is still there, so from time to time, when we're going to Costco, we swing on by to have a look. So guys, always lots to talk about, and I should have said at the start, if you have thoughts or comments, if someone's here going, how has Simon seen these comments from people? If you're on the Family First Facebook page, or you're on the Family First YouTube channel, your comments and questions will come live to me here in the studio. So if there's something on your mind, doesn't even have to be what I'm talking about, if you've got a question about something that's happening within the political or cultural sphere, feel free to fire those through, and I'll do my best over the coming 20 minutes or so to answer them, because that's what I like to do. And of course, if you have advice of what to do in Tokyo, let me know. The big consistent one coming from friends, neighbours, and followers of mine is to go and eat. Seems to be the key suggestion to me. Is it shabu shabu, where you sort of boil the meat? Oh my lord, my brain's got sushi. How could I forget the word sushi? Oh, John is saying that's where he is in Te Atatu. That's fantastic. It's fantastic. Very nice area, I have to say, as long as they keep improving the motorway so we can get in and out of town. So guys, it's always some heavy topics, just some sad stuff to start. I mean, on Tuesday I showed the French president getting slapped by his wife, which was, not amusing in itself, but remarkable of how he pulled himself together. But as I woke up this morning, this news was breaking. Sad news. Another country that used to be, had a good ethical tradition, is sort of flushing it down the loo. In so many ways, actually, when you look at France these days, along with a few other European countries, their parliament, so it hasn't reached their Senate yet, is voted yes at this stage to euthanasia. From what I can see very quickly, it's actually got more safeguards than what New Zealand has. New Zealand has effectively none. I just thought I'd put that on your radar. It's just unfortunate. As different advocates are saying, it doesn't matter in the UK that's fighting this at the moment, France. So what do they call it? An anthropological rupture. In other words, once we decide that human beings are worth dispatching for these reasons, some might seem worthy to people if there's massive distress and pain. But once we say that actually some lives are not worth living, we're in very, very dangerous territory. And that's just a reminder too, what I talked to you about on Tuesday, which still hasn't reached the mainstream news, which is one of the reasons, I think we've got to have these family first events. In fact, also, I'm going to be interviewing Bob on my RCR, Reality Check radio show. That's probably for Friday, to try and bring this to people's awareness. And what this one is, if you're going, well, what's he talking about? This is New Zealand now. Our Ministry of Health managed to miss in one of the quarters, so they have to report quarterly about how many people are terminated by euthanasia here in New Zealand. They basically missed 56 people, almost half the number of one quarter, if that's not sounding mathematically confusing. But in one quarter, they had to update their report, say, oh, sorry, we thought there were 73 dead, there was actually 56 more. I mean, how you miss 56 people is shocking, and just shows you the system is broken. So I wrote and write more about this on my On Point, which is on substack.com. It's free. Some people donate, which is incredibly generous and kind, but it's free. It's not paywalled. You can jump on and read my thoughts more fully on this and just actually articulating what's happening. I mean, in effect, you have a Ministry of Health here in New Zealand that is policing itself. It's the one in charge of the euthanasia law. It does its own reviews of itself, and, shock horror, they think they're amazing. There's no problems. I'm pointing out that there's a multitude of problems, actually. They can't even count the numbers right. Now, speaking, well, actually, Rosie's got a really good question. What else? You do have to wonder. I mean, we certainly knew over the COVID years of what we were being told and what was actually happening were often not in parallel. It's one of the reasons I think trust in institutions, trust in everything from the Ministry of Health through to police, through to politicians and the media, has just collapsed. Because I don't know about you guys, I think most of us have an innate sense of what's right or wrong. I'm not going to literally swear, but we have a good BS sort of register in our heads when we're being told something we don't think's right. Oh, excuse me. We sort of sense something's not quite right, and we had that certainly over the COVID years. We certainly have it now with a lot of the things being told. Jimmy's asking, we should be discussing the mass immigration. We can at times. Why I don't tend to, Jimmy, this is massive problem in Europe, as you know, by asking the question. In fact, I see the Reform Party in the UK is addressing the question, saying, really, for something like Britain to survive, same would apply to France and Germany. People need to have, bigger families, in effect, rather than trying to import people. And many times, unfortunately, they're issues, which is why you're seeing more knife crime and more cars driving through crowds and so forth, something that didn't used to happen. But I don't talk about it too much at length here, Jimmy, because I tend to try and keep to New Zealand topics. I'll quickly, if you will, flirt with what's happening in France or note something in America. But I could literally spend hours and hours talking here on what's happening in Europe. But I'll try to keep mainly to New Zealand, though I probably need to write about this on Substack at some point, and actually on some of my podcasts that I do to bring. Be lovely to get someone like Goodwin on to actually talk about what's happening, amongst others, amongst others. So anyway, lots of other groups and good people talking about it. If people don't know, look up Matt Goodwin. He's an academic in the UK, very, very articulate. Jumping back to the Ministry of Health, as I said, for not trusting them. I'll explain why this decision of theirs initially to leave Twitter, or what we now know as X, to move to a very new platform called Blue Sky, is a problem. And the problem simply is it shows how politically ideological, here we go, how politically ideological the Ministry of Health here in New Zealand is. They are ideologically captured, which I think affects how they not only, celebrate in effect the termination of New Zealanders through the likes of euthanasia and abortion, why they won't budge on trans ideology, why they won't, stand up for women's safety around the likes of the abortion pill. There's a whole array of issues. They are highly politically captured. And it's illustrated by their decision the other day, and good on the minister telling them to pull their head in. But the ministry said they're going to pull their posting on X. They're going to pull their posting on X and move over to Blue Sky. And there's two things to this. One is because they don't like Elon Musk. They believe that, they don't want to support what they deem as a centre-right leaning or a right-leaning platform. The fact that Twitter is, huge. There are tens, if not hundreds of thousands. In fact, I had the stats somewhere. Where are they? Are they here? This is New Zealand, the Twitter users, I believe. I hope I've got that right. But you can see blue is Twitter. Blue Sky is, ironically, orange. Twitter is huge. No matter what you think of its toxicity or otherwise, it is where you get your news these days. It's where everyone's at. And certainly when it comes to health messaging in New Zealand, you would think the ministry would not be worried about the left, the right, Elon Musk or anything like that. It's just like, hey, we have hundreds of thousands of New Zealanders who follow our X account, and it's a great way to get information out to them. But no, the ministry is far too political for that. They wanted to make, a political statement, not a health statement, a political statement that they don't want to be part of this free speech-leaning platform that Elon Musk owns. We're going to go to Blue Sky, where literally I think there might have been 100 and something people following their account. I think it's that. You can go and check. Had I done better research, I was in a bit of a rush, I must admit, this morning. But they've gone to a platform where no one's on it, no one cares. But also, get this, it's very much seen as a left-wing platform now. It's where all the whining woke liberals have gone to talk to each other and complain about their pronouns. And so that's where the Ministry of Health, your Ministry of Health, wanted to go. And as again, you can see, where are the people at? If the ministry was really committed, and this is where you do have to wonder at times where health has been usurped by politics, if they really cared about health and getting their messaging out, they'd stay on X. And actually, kudos, as I said, to the Minister of Health stepped in, so that's Simeon Brown, and said basically, pull your head in, guys. You can go to Blue Sky if you want, but you're going to stay on X. You need to be able to communicate all and everywhere. And look, it's what we do here at Family First. We're across just about every platform that I know of. I mean, Bob and the team are just prolific. It's amazing. But, some of you will be watching this on X. Believe it or not, Family First has a Blue Sky account. We have a Threads account. We're on TikTok. Not that I use it, but, the team uses it, which is great. Catherine just saying, this is about Matt Goodwin. He's really, really good. Again, great commentator. There's a whole lot of them, actually. Sunil Sharma, he might be a name familiar to some of you. He's a friend of mine in the UK. He started up his own podcast. He's a regular guest on my radio show, and he talks into some of these issues. Darren's just noting, it's such a small platform that it's not going to survive. There's my prediction. It was a reaction to the Trump administration win and Elon Musk, and so a few outraged people go there, but it's never going to get the traction. I mean, again, just look at the proportionate numbers. And Rosie's rightly asking, what's politics got to do with health? Very, very little. But we've seen all of this. We've seen all of this before. And Entity is right too, the immaturity. Again, it's very sad, but I think it just indicates to us the problems we have. And look, Bob and I, when we're dealing with the ministry on a range of issues, like we've just recently presented them a report coming out of the United States, a reputable report long and short, was saying actually the harms of using what they call the abortion pill, misoprostol, or I always get the name wrong, it's just the abortion pill, has been grossly underreported. They were saying almost 1 in 9 women are having issues while using the pill. So the problem we've got here, guys, in New Zealand is the Ministry of Health, again politically captured when it comes to the abortion question, are saying, hey, it's perfectly safe to use, there's nothing to see here. And we put up the red flag saying, well, here's a reputable report that's basically collated hundreds of thousands of data points from insurance claims in the United States to say, as I say, 1 in 9, almost 11% of women who use the pill are being harmed in some way, some quite seriously. And so really, it really behoves the ministry here to be a bit more open with women and also to be more honest and prepared to protect their safety, to go, look, here is this pill, it is available, but be aware that there are harms. Well, the reply we get back is typically political. Again, I've been in this game a long time. I know when junior little brats write a letter back and they think they're smart, but they're always trying to deflect from the reality. So again, you have a ministry that is politically motivated, ideologically motivated, and I would argue is actually not putting the safety of New Zealanders first in many areas. Not in all. That's not knocking the medical profession, but often those in the ministry, certainly the ones that we've come up against. Even when Bob and I have advocated around the whole trans surgery, the use of cross-sex hormones, puberty blockers, again, they just will not admit there's any harm, even though the evidence now is overwhelming. So, yeah, and I think entities said, yeah, it shows their maturity, and it's right. Yeah, actually, really good point here from Rabbit Hole. That even that this is again around the ministry's Twitter account. That now where is that? I've got so many screens here, guys. I'm losing track of myself. Yeah, even the centre right. So I don't see Twitter as a centre right platform. I think it's quite broad. But even if it were, they still need the information. But of course, when they're really ideologically captured, they're really woke amongst them, would actually want to deny you that information. It's what I've talked to you guys about before. One of the problems with progressivism, certainly as it's manifesting more and more now out of the far left, it's not just that your ideas are wrong, you're wrong. And once they've made that, if you will, philosophical leap, and a lot of them do, again, I've viewed J.K. Rowling as the example in the past. It's not just what she says that's wrong in some people's minds. She's wrong. Therefore, everything she's ever done, will ever do, is wrong. And so just as they try to cancel your ability to speak, just as they've mandated or cancelled your ability to work, these same ideologues from the progressive side will be more than happy to deny you health information because you're not worthy of it, is their basic position. It's quite scary when you think about it, but there's lots of historical precedents of this where a society goes, well, we're going to deem this group of people not worthy of being people. And I was reminded that of last night. I was at an Israeli event. It's their 70, oh gosh, I'm really having a bad night for for morning, rather, for very bad morning for numbers. But their independence event I was at last night, and of course, Holocaust comes up in any of those discussions. A reminder of what happens when we turn a group of people into other. So anyway, that's going down a massive tangent. Yeah. Good comment here from Simply Green. And also, I can see here from Entity, another one too. And yeah, they go to say another awards dinner to tell them how great they are. But these are the echo chambers that they're creating in and for themselves. Another good thing which happened, and pleased that the minister stepped in, but I'm disturbed that this, and we'll probably talk about this on Political Playback tonight, Bob and I, the memo that got leaked from police to say they're not going to investigate crime, shoplifting under, I think, $500 or drive-offs from service stations. The messaging that is coming out now is that that's being reversed, but I'm still a bit sceptical, and that's no reflection to my former colleague Mark Mitchell or the police commissioner, but you can't help but think that police either are stretched or don't see the inherent value, well, police commanders, in following up what they see as small level petty crime. But I can tell you, having visited the States recently, where they do take a very lax attitude. This was in New York State, and I know it's the same in California, so Democratic-run states in particular, where the police don't investigate low-level crime, where actually security and others have no options to engage someone who's just stealing something small and simple. You end up with absolute chaos. So I was in a Walmart, forgotten why I was in there, but I was, as you do. I was struck in the few minutes that I was there, the number of people who just walked in, would grab, I remember one guy looked high as a kite, just walked in, grabbed a big bottle of laundry detergent, and then just walked straight back out the door. And that's what we do not want in New Zealand. So I hope that this police directive is well and truly buried. If you don't nip the small crime in the bud, it just gets worse. And we know from the American experience, literally hundreds of millions of dollars just walks out the door most days. Because people go, if I just walk into Walmart or a Costco or wherever and just grab a little bit of this and a little bit of that, it's $50 here, $100 there, no police are going to come after me, nothing. It's just an invitation for trouble. And if you're following the news at the moment, we already have a problem with petty crime. The retailers are saying it's almost out of control. And just about every day, tragically, you're reading more and more news of, in this case, babies being killed, people being stabbed and attacked. It's not good. I would argue this is the result of this great progressive experiment, which is terribly failing at the moment. Speaking of failing, and I should wrap up on this, speaking of failing, RNZ slowly going down the gurgler, which, you know what, as long as they remain, as I term them, red radio, if they remain so biased to the left-wing and progressive narrative, they're going to go to nothingness. The government's cut their budgets significantly, and rightly so. The only reason they sort of continue is because they have been funded by the taxpayer. If they were a commercial entity, they'd be finished by now. Because I think most of us are sick and tired of their, sick and tired of just their perspective on things, which again is so highly, highly biased. So not surprised there. And speaking of biasing, Bob and I will touch on this tonight and I'll explain what's tonight. This is Newsroom. The part that, this is an op-ed, this is someone who wrote in, effectively a letter to the editor, raising around polling. So Newsroom, that's Tim Murphy's crowd, we've been celebrating the Treaty Principles Bill and how so many people submitted against it. And I think if I understand this op-ed writer, they're saying, well, actually, there's been a number of bills that have had overwhelming support for things, and it's not changed the law. So let's just be consistent. But it mentioned the polling in this case, which Family First had done around 3 strikes, which, like the Treaty Principles Bill, showed overwhelmingly where people's views were, but the government did nothing. But what's important here to show you utter complete media bias bordering on corruption is the highlighted part is not what this New Zealand citizen wrote. This was inserted by Newsroom. So someone writes a letter to the editor, Newsroom decides they're going to add to that person's opinion piece in their name. So that's the first egregious thing. The second, of course, it just shows their contemptible bias. That you have to say our Family First is an anti-abortion Christian lobby group. Well, actually, to Tim and his crew there, we're actually pro-life. We don't like killing babies, unlike it seems Newsroom. And we're proudly Christian. It's the basis of, a lot of the good that happens in society and the systems that we have, including human rights. But just, again, be aware of the bias that just operates. Doesn't matter if it's Newsroom, spin-offs completely off the planet. RNZ, it should not surprise any of us in any way. I kept talking about political playback, so that's the show that Bob and I do tonight. So Thursday night at 5 o'clock, Bob and I sit down for about an hour and go more in depth to what's happening politically. Some of it I've touched on today. Join us live at 5. For political playback. Bob and I will be chatting just like solid ground. If you've got questions or thoughts, know that if you're on our Facebook page or YouTube channel, those questions come into us, and so we can interact with you there. I see a whole pile of comments coming in, but I also see it's almost 8 o'clock and I have a foster daughter to sort for school. So guys, it's been lovely to have you here. As always, as I say, join us at 5 o'clock tonight. Bob and I will be on chatting politics. Love to get your comments and questions. And as I say, finally, I'm in Japan next week, so I will not be doing Solid Ground. You can have a break from me, but know that Bob will still be doing Daybreak on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. So guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay well, and I'll talk to you soon.